consistent in calisthenics. So I'm speaking to the people who obviously do calisthenics, or if you combine it with weights too, which is what I like to do, then I'm also speaking to you as well. Everyone tells you to stay consistent. I'm sure maybe you've heard it in my content before, but no one really tells you the secrets and the hacks to actually do that. So I'm going to cover it in this video. So let's just get into it. So first thing we're going to go over is you want to first discover your specific why. Not Billy's why, not Sarah's why, not Mark's why, your why, whatever your name is. The reason why this is important is because whenever you're losing that motivation, you can always refer back to your why. Bring that up consciously into your head. So what are some examples of your why? These are some things that you may be feeling or thinking that could give you some sense of your why. So the first thing, one, this doesn't have to be it for you, but these are just examples, right? One of them can be, I don't like the way that I look. Maybe, you wake up in the morning, you look in the mirror, and you're just not happy with what you see. Or you just don't like how you look, and you don't like the person who looks at you back in the mirror, which is yourself. This is a very strong why. This will motivate you and give you the drive that you need to make the change and to stay consistent with the calisthenics and the fitness so that you can then see the result that you want. This is a very strong one right here, and I think a lot of people start with this, and it's very common. Like a long time ago when I first got into working out, this was a big one for me because I was not happy with how I looked in the mirror. The second thing could be, I want to do something challenging to prove I'm capable. Maybe you just want something that you find challenging, but also meaningful at the same time. Maybe you've done things that are difficult in your life, but you didn't really care about it. Or maybe you haven't had that much challenge at all. And maybe you want to become a different version of yourself. So this is also a big one because if you can do that challenging thing and prove to yourself you can do it, it's just a spiral effect. And so you'll start to progress in calisthenics. It'll be easier to be consistent, and it could even, transfer to other areas of your life. So keep that one in mind. Next thing is maybe you just want to look cool. This one isn't as deep, but, this is kind of like the wow factor of calisthenics. I'm sure like the skill part is kind of where I'm referring to on this. You want to look cool. You want to do the handstands, the handstand push-ups, the muscle-ups, the lever-based movements, all of those. And yeah, I won't lie, they look cool, and this could be a pretty decent reason as to your why. It's not as deep as the other ones, but if you can start here, that's better than nothing. Okay, so that's one. That's the third one. And then the fourth one is I want to get in better shape. This is kind of similar to I don't like how I look. You want to get in better shape. Why? Go a little bit deeper. Like, is it because you want to be able to take care of someone else? You want to be able to take care of yourself so that you can take care of someone else? Is it because you don't want to be made fun of by other people? Is it because you want respect from other people, which I guess is in the next one I was about to talk about? But there's so many reasons as to why you want to get in better shape. Figure out the specific reason why, and the more you can dive deep into it, the more you can refer back to it to give you the motivation that you need. Next, I want respect from others, or you want respect from yourself too. One of the two. This is a big one because if you have respect from others and yourself, usually you're going to feel good and you're going to feel better about yourself, and you're going to want to continue with what you're already doing, which is staying consistent. Next thing, maybe your gym routine feels stale, or maybe you're doing a different type of training and it's just not hitting the same. You feel like you're just going through the movements. Maybe it's boring. Switch it up. And that's probably maybe how you got into calisthenics. You maybe got bored of the gym, or you didn't have access to one, or whatever it is. This could be a reason too. So, but it doesn't always have to be this, right? It could be maybe you get a little bored of calisthenics and you want to add weights back in. Do whatever allows you to see the progress you want and become the person you want to be. Next thing is I have no access to a gym. This is a pretty good reason to do calisthenics if you just literally don't have access to one. Maybe you're traveling, maybe you're, on vacation, maybe you're traveling for work, whatever it is. If you don't have access to it, you always got the floor. And, you need, having some equipment helps, but, it's less equipment needed than a full gym routine. Not to say the gym is bad. I like parts of it too, but in that situation, it could be helpful. Next thing, I don't feel confident in myself. Usually, the first thing that people want to change is the way they look, and if they're not confident in themselves, or the way that they look is like usually a big part of that. And so, if you want to feel more confident in yourself, then that could be something that allows you to want to be more consistent. Next, I want to be interesting and unique. You want to do something unique, right? And that's what calisthenics is. You walk around, you don't really see that many people doing it. So if you want to kind of stand out a little bit, that's where this can definitely come in as a good point. Next thing is you saw someone in person or online doing calisthenics and you got inspired. This is also part of it for me as well. I saw some influencers on Instagram and TikTok, and they would just show themselves doing the calisthenics, and it looked so crazy to me, and it did inspire me to get deeper into the journey, and that was another part of the reason for me personally. I'm sure that's probably how you came across calisthenics too. You probably saw it online somewhere. And I can't even talk. Last one, I feel depressed, right? This could be this is a really deep one. Maybe you're just in like a not good place mentally, and you need something to, put your energy into in order to get out of that state. And that's kind of where the calisthenics can come in, a new kind of form and style of training that most people don't really do as often. And keep in mind, like I said earlier, the deeper the reason is, the better it will be. So let's move to the next one. After you discover your why, you want to understand systems. The purpose of a system is to allow you to have less resistance to show up for yourself to that workout. So an example of this can be maybe you pick a time of the day that works for your schedule and you stick with it throughout the week. Maybe you like working out in the morning. Maybe you like working out fasted in the morning. Maybe, you tried doing that and then you realize, oh my God, I have no energy. I can't work out fasted in the morning. I feel horrible. Maybe you then switch it to the evening. Maybe you have a pre-workout meal, right? So you have to play around with what works for you because it could be different for everyone. People have different, jobs, circumstances that cause them to only be able to work out in certain parts of the day. So pick that time that works best for you, not what someone tells you have to do. You have to pick the one that works well for you through experimentation. That's important. The next thing, if you train at the gym, you maybe have a gym bag, or maybe, you do calisthenics at the gym, you do calisthenics and weights at the gym. This applies to people who go to the gym and do their workouts there. Try to maybe get your gym bag or equipment or clothes all laid out and set out prior. I personally don't do this because it's gotten to a point where it's just so routine. But if you're new to it, this could be something that could help because there's less resistance because everything's laid out, it's ready to go, and you're good. It's kind of like meal prepping in the same way, right? When you meal prep in a certain, all of your meals or a lot of your meals or some of your meals, however much you want to do, in a certain period of time, it's easier because there's less resistance. You don't have to think about what you're going to prepare throughout the week, and it's more efficient. So that could work for you. Next thing is to have meals at a certain time of the day, and you block your workout for a certain time after the meal. So maybe you have a meal at, maybe you eat 3 times a day, maybe you eat at 10 a.m., 4 p.m., and then 8 p.m., whatever it is. Let's say that's how many times you eat. You can have your workout in a block around a certain window when you're eating. So I personally like to have one of my bigger meals like an hour-ish, or maybe a little more than an hour before my workout, and then close to the workout, I have a little piece of fruit too to give me a little bit more energy. That's kind of what works for me, and I recommend doing something similar to that for you as well. Because when you have structure with when you're eating too, it also will help you keep the right body composition so that you can stay consistent and not be worrying about all these other factors that could be causing you to feel like you're not seeing the progress that you want. Next thing, I haven't done this one, but I've heard this could work, is you can get a friend or a buddy and you could pay them a little bit if you don't show up for yourself that time. And obviously you don't want to have to pay them, so you're going to be more likely to show up. Once again, I haven't done this, but I've heard that this could work. I've heard about this somewhere. I forget where, but hey, if it works, maybe give that one a try. And the last one is sleep, nutrition, and stress management. All of this goes into seeing progress. If you know you're in a certain stressful time period in your life, then maybe be a little flexible with your workout and adjust it as needed. Have that plan, but be a little bit flexible with it as you need to. It doesn't have to be so rigid. Your nutrition. I think I've talked about this before already. This is super important, right? Your macronutrients determine how you look. The micronutrients in the food determine how you feel. So get this in check, and you want everything to be as stable as possible so that you can really focus on the inputs in the workouts to see progress. And sleep. Come on. We got to get to some point. Try to get your 7+ hours a night of good sleep. Not just any sleep, good sleep. If you have to take some supplements before, do what you need to do. Experiment with that and get that on point, because this is where you build muscle and where your muscles repair, and you are going to see progress. And if you see progress, you're more likely to stay consistent. So it all ties in. Okay, let's move to the next one. Next is going to be self-talk and your mental. Okay, so when you go into your training, it's glitching a little bit. When you go into your training, especially for skills, you don't want to be hesitating like crazy. You want to go into it with full confidence, right? I don't know why that's the word I was looking for. You want to go into it with complete sureness. I don't even know if that's a word, that you're going to make that rep or that set or whatever it is that you're doing. You're going to make it happen, and you're going to do it well. Because oftentimes, especially if you're getting a skill that you just learned or you're trying to learn it, or maybe you've even done it for a while, if you're trying to do that, sometimes on those bad days, that thought creeps up like, oh, maybe I may not get this. This might not go well. I might mess it up. This might go horribly. You got to get rid of that, right? The difference in how you can perform based on what you're telling yourself is actually insane. So be very, very mindful of what you're telling yourself, because it's easy to go into a negative spiral and start to mess up, and then one thing goes bad, the next thing, it's like a cascade of events, and then before you know it, you want to just quit the workout. So this really applies for people going for skills. If you're doing the compounds and the basics, it's not as technical, so this doesn't apply as much for those. The next thing is that one bad day does not mean you lost all your progress. Okay, one bad day, that happens to the best of us. Sometimes you're gonna have a bad day, or maybe a bad warm-up, and the workout goes good. Or sometimes you'll have a bad warm-up, and the workout goes bad. Or sometimes you'll have a great warm-up and the workout goes good. Or you have a great warm-up and the workout goes horrible. You'll never really know. So unless you're feeling like you might get injured or something's hurting, just trying to get the warm-up in, get everything going, and make sure that you try to complete that workout as often as you can. And that will build evidence to yourself that you can continue, doing that over a long period of time. And you'll identify with the person who could be consistent, and then you'll be consistent. The next thing is to view your progress over long periods of time, because there are going to be little dips where you may see progress go up and down. Maybe you're in a bulking phase, you're gaining weight, which could, maybe make your skills go down a bit, but you're getting some muscle, or maybe you're cutting, whatever it is. View the progress over longer periods of time, instead of, oh my God, last workout I did this, and this workout I lost a rep on this exercise. Look at it over longer periods of time. It's a better way to mentally reframe that, so you can be more motivated to stay consistent. But if you are having constant bad days in a row over and over and over, something's probably wrong with your sleep, where you're eating, your stress, your focus during the workouts, your mental focus, you might need a deload week. So keep that in mind as well. Next thing is to monitor your self-talk and reframe it to something more positive, which is kind of what I was talking about earlier, this whole thing. And also, you want to ask yourself, if you're on the verge of going to do the workout or not, how will I feel if I don't do this? And then bring back all the negative things that you would feel. And then think about what would happen if you do this and you do the workout. Think about all the amazing things you will feel. If you can do that, you'll be able to be like, hey, you can think about it logically and say, hey, I'm going to feel good after I do this. Maybe I don't feel the best going into it, but I know at the end I'll probably feel better. It's like scientifically proven that working out helps with your mental. So use this reframe. It's helpful. Next thing I would say is to have a workout plan and make sure that you track it to some degree, right? It doesn't have to be every number of everything. I mean, you could, or you could just do the important ones, the ones you care about, but the more you could do it, the better. So have that workout plan you could stick to consistently that works for your schedule, yours specifically. You gotta experiment. Maybe you like a push-pull legs. Maybe you like a push-pull with legs kind of in there and maybe pushed out from time to time if you're working on skills. Maybe you like a full body split. Maybe you like upper lower split because you like training legs a lot, right? It depends on your goals. So experiment with that. Next thing is to track things like your sets, your reps, the exercise you did with those sets and the reps. Maybe if it felt hard, maybe if it felt like a struggle, or maybe if it felt super easy. You can write little notes next to that about it, maybe on like a notebook or the notes app on your phone. If you do this and you see it over a longer period of time, it'll help motivate you because you'll see improvements, like I mentioned earlier. Remember, looking over long periods of time, you'll see those improvements, and this will motivate you to just keep going and doing things more, which will allow you to stay consistent. And it'll also allow you to progressively overload, which is to make things harder in your workouts over time more easily. And the last thing I want to talk about is comparison. You know what they say, comparison's a thief of joy and all of this. Comparison, when done right, could be good because it can motivate you, but when done wrong, it could really send you down a bad negative rabbit hole. So we want to make sure we control that and use it to our advantage, because it's easy to compare ourselves to others you see online. That's probably how you came across calisthenics. You probably saw it online. I highly doubt you were just at a park and you saw someone doing a handstand or like a muscle up. Or maybe, I don't know. But I think most people see it, they'll see it for the first time online. And that's where they kind of want to start. Or maybe they know someone who does it. I don't know. Anyway, you want to use your progress and results, other people's progress or results as inspiration of what's possible, and use the result to make sure that you're not disappointed of your own progress. Use it as inspiration. When you see that social media post of something, that skill that you really want to do, use it as like, wow, this guy did it, so maybe I'd be able to do it too. Or this girl did it, maybe I'll be able to do it too, So just really keep that in mind. Next thing is that everyone starts out in a different situation and you don't know their full story. So that person doing the crazy thing online, you don't know if they're on PEDs, performance enhancing drugs, steroids. You don't know that, right? You don't know certain things about what's going on in their daily lives. So it's pointless to make comparisons that's going to make you feel worse. You know what I mean? So let's get that out the brain, okay? I would compare myself to other people online too. I'm not immune to this either. This happens to me from time to time, but I feel like I have a little better control over it now. And next is that some people might have better leverages. Maybe they're shorter. Maybe they have less mass on their legs. Maybe they have some better genetics, right? That's still not a reason. That's not a good enough reason for you to feel bad or worse about yourself. So just do your best and know that everyone comes from a different spot and you don't know where they're coming from. So it doesn't make sense to always compare it and talk down to yourself. And lastly, you want to make sure that you are proud of yourself and you make improvements over time. That's what really matters. Not if this number went to here and then this, and then you're always going to want more. You're going to want this, and then once you get this, you're going to want this, and the next thing, and the next, and it's never going to stop if you're really into it. So as long as you can look back, sit down, reflect, and be like, hey, over this past period of time, I did a great job, and I may not have the best thing unlocked, or maybe I did unlock, the crazy skill that I want or the goal that I have. Whether or not you got it, look at where you came from and where you are now. Look at how big of a difference it is. Acknowledge it. Like, repeat it to yourself. Tell yourself, like, you acknowledge it, it's there, and think about that every time you start to feel demotivated to not be consistent. And this will then help you stay consistent. And that's just about it. I think I covered everything. That's just about it, about how to stay consistent in calisthenics. I hope you found this helpful. These are things that I wish someone was showing me when I first started calisthenics. So I hope it was, once again, helpful to you. And if you do want my help and you're considering working with me one-on-one, I have a link in the description. Check that out, and I'll see if you're a good fit for us to work together. And make sure you like, save. Oh, wait, this is YouTube. I don't think you could save. Like, subscribe, and comment any kind of video you do want to see in the future, and I got you. So, peace, guys.